Wait, that's the link that I could share with people?
The CryptoVoxels link?
Oh, I was just saying, like, is there a link to the like just like the video stream of it too?
Yeah, I'm
I'll
gonna
put
send
both of
that to
them.
you right now. I'm getting
Okay.
that. Yeah. So, just gonna let it, so we're 3 in the grid. Let me see if I can give us a better, oh, see, once I'm in though, I think this is where I was having the issue. It's, we really can't go back and do anything once we're in. So people, I can share this with you in chat. Coldy, I'm gonna actually drop it to, I dropped it to you, Coldy, to our chat.
Okay.
In WhatsApp, and then put it in our email too.
Yep, we're live.
Yeah, so that's, we need an intern that knows about live and loves it.
You mean I can't be the intern also?
I know, right?
I want to do it all. Come on.
You got to be CEO of Mic Drops. That's
Wait, did you send me the?
Yeah, Mike, I put it in email. And then I think Coldy's also going to drop it to our Twitters.
Yep.
And can you see that we're live?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, sick. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for probably the most epic interview of 2020. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. Let's not kid ourselves. We've got Beeple in the house, and we're stoked.
Wait, did you send me the link?
I did, yeah. I sent it to you in email. Yeah.
Oh, okay, let me look.
And I also,
okay.
Yeah. So everyone, like, get your refresh going. Keep hitting the refresh button if you have to, so you can get the latest word as we're giving it to you right now. We are live in the Metaverse on CryptoVoxels as well. There's a badass gallery set up by Coldy in the Coldy Citadel with some of the most prolific art of the year getting ready to drop on Nifty Gateway, those lucky bastards. Very talented cock fosters over there. Good for you guys. Snagging this for people to hit the to hit the crypto.
Those guys, they've
been working hard.
Like they really highlight that middle name there. They really lean into it. You know?
The cock foster.
I guess it's their full name.
It's a super cool name. I mean,
the first time I talked to him, I was like a little like a freaking 7-year-old kid, like tee. I'm like, I have to ask, is that your real name? I definitely thought it was just like a, I don't know, stage name, I guess.
Like a tech name just to be a badass. Turns out that's their real name, and they're lucky for it. That's
even more badass.
You're gonna be dropping a Beeple for the first time in the crypto art space. You need to have a strong name like Cock Foster.
That's true. That's true. I guess. Yeah, I don't.
They brought it.
So it can't hurt. It can't hurt.
It's pretty exciting.
So how's the crypto art week been going so far? Is this the first year you guys have done this?
Yeah, it's the first year it's being done. Period. It's the first art week for crypto in the universe.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely been, I mean, I'm like just so like I was like nervous before this, and I usually don't get like that, but it's like because it's like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like I literally just learned about this space like 2 weeks ago. And since that time it's just been like I've been just like freaking all I can like think about, like, going ape shit on this stuff. So it's it's been a lot in the last 2 weeks. It's definitely like, yeah.
Well, that's the way it is. I mean, that's the speed of this place. We, Coldy and I put our visions together and literally came up with this 2 weeks ago, Seriously,
Well,
we just
Literally.
wanted to do something rad for the community and bring us all together and nerd out around crypto art and talk about, our favorite artists, up and coming artists, like where we can improve as a community, where we can improve as artists. And, this is something new for history. I mean, crypto art will be in the annals of, art history as one of the most exciting times for art history, period.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely like, such an interesting movement in the like history of like digital art that it feels very much like, even though this has been around for like a couple years or whatever, it still feels very much like the beginning of like something that like, could be around for a really, really long time. So it's like, that's what's super exciting to me, because it's just like, there's so many, it feels like there's a lot of like low hanging fruit where it's like, wait, has anybody tried that? Has anybody tried that? It's like, oh, nobody's tried those things yet. It's like, oh, I could try those things, so that to me is what seems like so exciting, and seeing like the digital crypto voxels and Samian space, and like how fast those are progressing too, and seeing like the possibilities and where they could go has just been like so exciting.
Yeah, I'll have to. The fun part is like, when this started like 2 years ago, and and me, and there's a whole litany of guys now that are the OGs, but 2 years ago, I mean, there wasn't even any of crypto voxels. There wasn't anything. It was simply, we were stoked to just have a global marketplace to sell art. Like, I don't have to go to the coffee shop and lowball myself just to get on someone's wall. Now it's like, dude, and I make some weird lenticular, some weird shit that people in my little town, they don't even know what's going on. Like, art walk for me is a waste of time. So like now I can go globally, and and we proved the scarcity through the tokens, and the easy selling for collectors. They don't have to pay insurance and ship, and things get lost in the mail or all that shit. It's instant, and it worked. And honestly, I knew that this was so real that it was a matter of time before people like yourself were introduced and felt comfortable. And it was almost like being a Sherpa to get to the top of the mountain, right? Like, I know how to get there, and now that I'm here, I can go back down and lead packs. Like, let's do some trains up, right? And honestly, this is a big deal for me, because this is not only to sell my own art and get out there, but I believe in this. I'm all in, right? So the fact that I can share my expertise and my knowledge with you and so many other people, it really like brings fulfillment to my life. It's a big
everybody I've talked to has been and people, over the past probably 2 months, a bunch of people came to me, and like the Nifty people reached out, and other people reached out, and like, oh, you got to look at this, and I kind of like half-assed looked at it, and like didn't really get it, didn't really process, had a million things going on, and then I looked at it again like a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, and it was just like, holy shit, what the fuck? And I saw like the crazy amount, like Pac was like just crushing it on super rare. So I immediately like, wait a second, I know fucking Pac. So I texted him immediately and like chatted with him for like freaking hours, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is the space? Like, like got like a little like intro course there, and like that really helped a lot. And then from there, I just like tried to like talk to like everybody who would like answer my, DMs, to be like, will you like, talk with me for a half hour or whatever, and just like explain what the hell is going on like in this space, and like where you see it going, and where it's been, and like just different things. So it's just been like so cool to see, and everybody is just like so smart, so welcoming, and like so like supportive. So it's been like, super fun to just dive in, especially because it's very like adjacent to like the MoGraph community that like, I'm a part of. And it's like, oh, here's this other thing that's like very similar in a lot of ways, but also has its own like interesting culture and interesting to like little sort of like quirks and like you know, different things that set it apart. So that's been like really fun too, to like explore those little things.
What are some of the things, because there are a lot of MoGraph guys starting to get interested in the crypto art space.
Oh, everybody's coming, I guarantee you that.
Oh, well, you
I
just
guarantee you that.
So it's
Unless the only way everybody's not coming in is if I ruin it for everybody and they're like, wow, okay, this scene got lame. This scene, okay, this scene, Beeple's in it, jump the shark. That's lame shit now. That's lame-o shit. So I probably ruined it. So sorry, guys. I'll jump off the call.
There are people in the comments literally like, yes, people, thank God. I told you, you're like you're like the Beyonce of
Some
digital.
people are saying that. People
you.
are just too scared to like step up and be like, okay, Beeple's on here. Losers.
Nah.
But you know what? I mean, I'll tell you, sorry to cut in, but like over the years, there's the obligatory who should tokenize, right? And like I'm always expecting, I mean, there's obviously like the Banksy comes up a bunch, but you know who gets the floods is Beeple. Like it'll just be like Beeple, and it's just like you don't even bring it up. It's just like the people are getting what they want. Like I'll tell you.
Well,
that.
I think I guess it's interesting, like for me, because to me this is really it seems too good to be true, if I'm being totally honest, because it's like, okay, I'm creating all this shit and now people are just gonna pay money for it. It's like I was creating all this shit for free, and then it's like, wait, people want to like collect this shit. It's like, wait, are you serious? So I'm still a little like, is this real? Is there like, is this just like a very elaborate setup to punk me? Where is it? Somebody's gonna jump out and be like, yeah, this is all bullshit. We got your bank account information. No, so it's just like, and I think I mean, I could see how my name might come up more versus certain types of artists, just because like digital, like I've always like, that's been like the core of like what I've, you know, done is like digital stuff. And like I've sold prints and like stuff like that, but it's like, it's just kind of like in some ways the worst way to view my work, just because it's like, that's not, I didn't like, when I'm making it, I'm not thinking about physical things. I'm thinking about like literally like, what's it gonna look on a screen? Yep. Like to the point where it's like my like Photoshop, I had it like very like a light color to the Photoshop, because it's like, I know Instagram is very white. What's my work gonna look like against white, solid white? So I'm constantly like just very much like a digital first mindset versus, you know, maybe some more like traditional artists.
For those who are more familiar with your background, just kind of tell us a little bit, like, you know, where'd people grow up? Like, how did you get into digital?
Yeah, so I grew up in Wisconsin, lived in Wisconsin all my life until college, and just recently, last like 3 years, moved to Charleston here because my brother's out here. And yeah, I just went to school for computer science. As soon as during college, I realized I was spending more time doing graphics and making little short films and like computer stuff. And so I got through the degree and then never got a job programming. And that's another reason though, I think this is really interesting to me. I think what's interesting to me about this space is because it kind of really has all the things I'm interested in. Like I'm interested in like finance and investing. So it has that aspect to it. I'm interested in art, and it's got the like super dorky, like tech, like programming side to it. So it's like, it has all those things like in one bundle. But yeah, from there, I like got a job in web design, worked in web design for like 10 years, and like slowly like kept doing like Beeple stuff, like, you know, making weird videos and stuff, started the everydays. And then I started releasing like a bunch of like VJ clips that people started using. And so people started contacting me for like doing custom concert visuals, stuff like that. And then, yeah, that kind of just like kept doing that. Like it's really been like a very, you know, sort of like gradual thing. There was no sort of like one defining thing that kind of like, you know, I guess if anything was defining, probably starting the everydays was definitely like, I saw a very noticeable sort of, from when I started that, like increase in quickly getting better and getting more sort of like, you know, technical abilities and ideas out and stuff like that.
Would you say you're a little obsessed with the everydays? Is it religious for you? Or is it like going
I don't
to
know that I would say obsessed. It doesn't really feel like an obsession. It feels like an obligation. But like, to be honest, like most nights, it's like, fuck this, don't care, phoning it in, do not give a shit, I am phoning it in. And then I'll sit down and be like, this could actually be good if I just spend more time. And then it's like, and then I get sucked into it. And then I do like, kind of like, you know, get excited about it. But to be honest, I would say like most days, I'm just like, don't care, whatever. I am fucking just do not give a shit. Because it's like, I'm tired. I've already done like a bunch of like work, you know, like client work and shit like that. Like that's mostly what I do. Most of my day is like client stuff. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, do I want to spend another 3 hours at the computer? Yeah, no, I do not. But then, you know, I feel obligated to, because obviously I've done it for, you know, a buttload of time. So I'm not going to just not do it because I'm like, don't feel like it. So then I sit down and then I do get like excited about like, you know, trying to make it better, or trying to like get out some weird, stupid, booby, whatever. I mean,
so that kind of brings up a question I've always had. So, you know, as I'm scrolling Instagram, you know, I see themes come along. I see you have something in your mind, but then is like, do you have a running list that you're pulling from, or is it stream of consciousness? Where does that come from every day?
I do have a small list sometimes. Like right now, there's about 4 things on the list. Usually though, I don't have more than that. And they're 4 things that it's like, oh man, it'd be cool to do this. It's not like that's what I'm doing today, because again, like, I know they're ideas where it's like, okay, when I do that idea, I feel like it's gonna take longer to do. And I want to like do that idea right. So I'm gonna wait till I've got like that I can spend like maybe 4 or 5 hours on the everyday that day. And so I've got some ideas, but like they're definitely not like I know what I'm doing the next 5 days. I have no idea what I'm doing tonight. Like I saw something about like that Among Us, and maybe I won't do this, but I saw something about that Among Us game. I was like, oh, which I've never even played, but I'm like, oh, it'd be fun to do something with that. But I don't know. Like that's all I have for like today. But every day before midnight, I will have it posted somewhere. So there's a very hard cutoff each day. So it kind of like forces a decision, because it's like, and I usually wait till the end of the day to like do it. So it's always like, well, I can't sit here and whatever. I've got 3 hours. Like it's got to be done in 3 hours. So it's going to be fucking done, and it's going to be what it is. So, you know, that really sort of like helps force decisions come out.
You mentioned earlier that sometimes you feel like phoning it in. Do you have a phone it in file of artworks that you haven't released?
No, they're definitely 100% made that day. If I'm phoning it in, I'm phoning it in that day from scratch.
Wow.
And again, I got things where it's like I have so many assets that it's like it's not that hard to phone it in. And usually, like when I say phone it in, it's still me spending probably like, you know, an hour and a half. Like it's never like, okay, like 5 minutes. Because again, like I get, you know, more excited as I sort of like, you know, start working on it or whatever. It's very rare that I'm like, so like fuck this, that like I don't get at least somewhat excited about some aspect of it like while I'm working on it.
So you're now even more legendary than people thought. The fact that you're actually making these things every single day is really
absolutely nice. That's the thing, people, I get the question I get the most, do you have like a bunch banked up? Absolutely, definitely not. That's completely against the whole point of this. The whole point of this is not to like jam and crunch and get fucking burned out. It's to not get burned out. It's to like take the slow road, like fucking like do this the like long way, the like, you know. And that's where it's not for everybody. Like that's not how everybody works. That's not how everybody like operates. Like a lot of people like to just like fucking crush for a week, crush for 3 days, whatever, and then just like go and just like decompress and like, you know, fucking hibernate for a week, whatever. That's just not like how I sort of am built. Like I need it. Like for me, it's much better to just like put in, you know, X amount of work each day, and that's it. And it's really about very much about the like process and getting better. And like luckily there's an artifact from that, but it's definitely about the like process to like get better each day.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you stress, you know, there's sort of being a balance there so you don't get burned out, so you can continue doing what you love by starting out slowly, doing a little bit at a time. I think, you know, sometimes I've been in the digital space for a minute now, and sometimes what I see from artists is they try to go from like their first tutorial to trying to be the person teaching. And it's like, well, just do 50 more tutorials and get good at that. And then develop your own voice and your own abilities and riff off of everything you've learned over the last 50 days or 50 tutorials, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I honestly, I feel very fortunate in some ways that I sort of like started this and kind of like came up like before social media was really like a thing. Like when I was first doing the everydays, like I was just posting them on my website because it wasn't like, oh, people are posting art on social media. It was really only like Facebook. This is like 2007. And so it's like, you know, there's, when I started posting them on like Facebook, I didn't know of anybody else posting. I started posting on Facebook in like 2009, I think. I didn't know of anybody else doing that. It was just like, oh yeah, I could reach more people here. And it took me forever just to get like 100 followers so that I could like, you know, have my own Facebook/Beeple. So I very much like, you know, didn't have that kind of like fucking, you know, very toxic mindset that like, and just maybe unrealistic expectations that social media can sort of like bring. It just like, it can be such a like, and I to this day really take pains to like, you know, sort of like not see how many likes things are getting and not like, you know, go ape shit on the comments and like see that I really try and like keep some distance just because it can be such a like fucking mind fuck of just, you know, just you see a million comments, oh, this is great, this is blah blah blah, which I think is also not healthy either, because it's sort of like if I phone something in, like me seeing a million people, or not a million, but people being like, this is fucking amazing. It's like, I know it's not amazing. And like, that's not healthy for me either. And then, but invariably you see that one comment where it's like, this is fucking stupid. And then you're just like, wait, what? What did he say about me? Like, that's all you care about. And now, like, you know, I've heard from people, and I never look at the comments. Like when I put like a Trump piece up like that, but it sounds like it gets a little salty in there. So it's like, yeah, I'm not even like, you guys could go ape shit on each other. I don't give a shit. Like, that's not my thing. I don't give any remote fucks what you think of this. Like, I said exactly what I wanted to say. You can say it in your little comments.
Oh man, I wonder how many remote fucks are actually remoting around out there. So the comments on the YouTube stream live are going pretty nuts. We've got some great people in the space. What up, Angie Taylor? What up, Joy? What up, Ferocious? Signal Noise, Natural Rap, Christy, Xavier, Lander, Justin. Yeah, nice to see you, Justin. Just want to shout them out really quickly. Angie said, do you have ADD? Or ADHD? I think that was the question. Exactly. Are you an ADHD?
Do I have ADD? I don't think so, though I feel very, you know, it's occurred to me that I don't think I have ADD, but, or ADHD or whatever, but like I feel very, you know, and especially this year, especially now, just like fucking pulled in a million like directions. And like this was just one more thing, but it's actually kind of like I've been able to like focus like all of my attention on it like for the last, again, 2 weeks. But yeah, I feel like insanely like distracted by like news. Like, I don't know, you can see here, like I have
I think it's great that you're playing the news. Oh, you have 2 TVs.
I have 2 TVs in my room. One is set to CNN, one is set to Fox News, and they're on all day, on mute all day. I never change the channel. I never take them off mute, but there's day, fucking right and left, freaking going ape shit in my room.
This is such
all
great
day.
context for the Nifty drop. Nifty, you guys are fucking welcome, okay? Welcome. You're fucking welcome.
Yeah, so it's
this
definitely, yeah, I feel distracted. I will definitely say I feel very distracted.
So what are you going to do after the elections now that a lot of your work has been based on or around Trump, Biden, but specifically Trump, Hillary, or Killary as some people like to say?
I'm definitely looking forward to like taking a break on the Donald, old orange man. It's like one of these things where I think everybody is like, I've oscillated between very confident he can lose, like for like prior to this, like last 2 weeks, it's like no, and I like fucking, I don't know if you guys know 538 Nate Silver, like polling place, like I'm fucking like F5 on that motherfucker all day, like looking at the like polls and shit. And like I'm pretty confident he's gonna lose, and like we're just gonna like have like fucking just peace and quiet for a second, because it's just like it's just constant, and it's just this constant, just ridiculous, and it's one of these things where it's like, yeah, it's almost like, how can I not say something about this? Like we've lost sight of like how ridiculous some of this stuff is. Like it's like the president of the United States said that we didn't kill Osama bin Laden. We did a body double, and then the president killed the people, and those people are still alive. They're like, yeah, no, I'm still alive, and I definitely killed Osama bin Laden. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like, that's not even news. We're not even talking about that. That was just like something that happened, and then like 3 hours later, we're done. It's just like, what is going on? Like it's like it feels like one of those things, but where it's like, okay, I have to like comment or like do something about this, because it's like on my fucking mind like constantly, but at the same time,
on your TV, so that's
could
be related.
I mean, that's kind of self-inflicted if we're being totally honest. So that's kind of like, how could I possibly escape it? Yeah, probably turn the TV off.
So here's kind of a tangent on that, but like, what are you into besides dailies and besides MoGraph? Like if you had to like take a day off, what would you want to do?
I'm not super well-rounded. This is almost all I'm interested in, to be quite honest. Like I'm interested in the news. Like I'm a super big news junkie. I read a shitload of news, like politics, and like I said, investing. Like I'm also very interested in like investing. It was, obviously prior to this, mostly like stocks and like pretty like sort of conservative stuff. And I'm also interested in, especially like the tech stocks. I'm interested in like the sort of like power dynamics. I think Zuck was just on there testifying just like, a couple minutes ago or so, or maybe that was from the last time he testified like a week ago or whatever. But I'm really interested in those dynamics. But outside of that, to be honest, like I don't know anybody in Charleston. Like I don't like leave the house. Like I'll go days without leaving the house. My family, I've got a wife and 2 young kids, and so I work from home, and so it's pretty much like working and like family time, like spending time with the kids, spending time with my brother and my family, and my parents bought a house like near here, so like the family's close. But other than that, like prior to this, we would travel a lot. Like I would do talks like all over the world, and like that was super fun. So I really miss that. But like other than that, like I'm pretty much like at this fucking computer. Like that is very much the default. It's like brief times not at the computer.
Sure, I feel that.
Someone in the comments wants to know, when's your birthday?
It's in June, and I keep joking that I'm 40, but I'm actually 39, so I'm almost 40.
So we're gonna have like a Beeple bash in the metaverse. So are you June? Like cool. You're a Gemini? Or are you a June Cancer?
Gemini.
The June 2nd, June 6th,
June 20th.
June 20th. Oh, you're right on the cusp. That's nice.
I don't know any of that stuff.
So you're Cancer Gemini, you're cuspy. So the 19th is generally the time it changes, but we can talk offline about that. Dang, so this is really interesting. I bet that people wouldn't guess that you have a it sounds like you have a pretty like you're a guy who like fine tunes and like takes things apart. You look, behind the watch to look at the gears to see how they work. Are you that type of guy?
No,
Like,
not really. I mean, like in terms of like, no, not really.
how
I
can
feel
you be
like
into tech stocks though, and like make no friends and go out? Like, how does that?
Say it again.
How can you be strictly into like be investing in the tech stocks and politics, but not have that sort of like analytical nature for like the finer details of how things work? It sounds like
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm more interested on like how macro things work, things that affect all people, like versus like small. Like I guess I am like obviously like, oh, I can fix the anti-aliasing on this, blah blah blah, whatever. I mean, yeah, there's definitely like some very in the weeds technical things that I'm, super interested in. But I think I'm also like, I wouldn't say I'm like necessarily, I feel like I'm fairly outgoing. It's just I don't know anybody in this town, and I'm just kind of not super interested to talk to that many people, just because like they're not interested in the same thing. Like it's the same thing we were talking about before, where it's kind of like they're not interested in the same things that I'm interested in. So it's just I don't find like a huge, I don't really like making small talk. So I love going to these conferences. I love going and meeting people. Like that's super, super fun, because it's like you instantly have this connection. You instantly like, oh, the freaking RTX 3090, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? You're on the fucking other side of the world and can immediately like just geek out with somebody. And so that's like super fun to me. But like, like other than that, I'm just like super, I wouldn't work this much if I didn't really like doing it. Like at the end of the day, I really do like I'm super still like into making stuff and like excited about like making stuff. Or, I wouldn't spend this fucking 12, 14 hours a day at the computer.
Did you always make art like when you were a kid? Were you creative and drawing and stuff like that?
I did when I was a kid, but then I didn't really like, not super into drawing. Like I was a kind of, but not enough to actually like get good at drawing. Like I look at people who are like, good at drawing. Like I'm very bad at drawing. Like really, like I can assure you, like this is not me. Like I'm being super humble, like embarrassingly bad at drawing. And so I wasn't that into art. And I actually remember in high school, I only took one art class, and it was like a graphic design class, or it was like basic design. And then I never took like anything after that. But I learned a lot in that, and I actually still remember a lot of the stuff in that freshman high school art class. And that was like the last art class that I took. But like a lot of the like fundamental sort of like art 101 high school level like concepts, that's my like art education.
Cool. Yeah.
They're asking what's your computer setup like, and did you own Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency before you came to the crypto art space?
So the computer setup is I need a new computer. I haven't updated in a second. I've got 3 computers. They're in like another room. It's kind of nice. They're in like a bathroom that we like took over. There's like a piece of wood on the tub, and the computers are sitting on the like piece of wood on the tub. And then there's like a giant like industrial fan sitting on the toilet. And it's just like, obviously you can't go to the bathroom. It's literally just like a server room. So there's like 3 computers, and they each have some like 1080 cards in them. But they're slowly kind of like failing. So I need to like kind of refresh and get some new cards.
This episode is sponsored by NVIDIA. People need cards.
No, I have actually talked to NVIDIA. Actually, they came out and shot something prior to fricking the world going to hell, and it will come out eventually. They're making they made like a little like documentary. It's like kind of half done or whatever, but
that's cool.
Obviously everything went to shit. So coming sometime, it'll be totally outdated by the time it comes out. But in terms of the like Ethereum or like cryptocurrency, I'm going to be honest. I was pretty like, I bought some in 2017 when it like blew up. just because it was like, what the fuck? And I had heard about it well before then. I'd heard about it, like, I think when Bitcoin like first went to like maybe like $100 or $300 in like 2013, maybe somewhere around there. And I was just like fascinated that it was just like, this is so weird that these people, like, it's just pure like speculation in a way, that it's just like somebody made this algorithm and the algorithm has these crazy rules to it. And then people are just like, yeah, this has value. And then and then it like snowballed from there. And there's like, such interesting like psychology and like, sort of like economics theories of that. And like, especially in the context of history with like the like Dutch tulip thing and like how everybody's going ape shit on tulips. And then it was like, wait, what the fuck are we talking about? They're just goddamn flowers. Who gives a shit? Like things like that. Like, it's just so interesting how it like snowballed. So I bought some in 2017, and then obviously, it kind of came back to earth there, and left it in Coinbase, and not a ton, like just like a small amount. And I'm very much like a pretty conservative investor, and like I'm very like playing the long game. So like didn't touch it, so it's still sitting in Coinbase. And now I like just in the last 2 weeks open up Coinbase, it's like, oh nice, it's up again. So it's like it actually has made money. But yeah, honestly, prior to that, I was a little still pretty, kind of skeptical on cryptocurrency in general, just because it's sort of like, I don't know. There's one thing that maybe you guys know, and I haven't asked anybody this question. I keep forgetting to ask, but I just didn't like, I got it. I obviously understood it, but it's one of these things where it's like, as an investment, I still just looked at it as like a bit too risky for like my taste. And then to me though, I will say, like, it's surviving the last 6 months, 8 months, whatever the fuck we're in this now. Like, to me, that really says a lot, because this has been some heavy fucking shit. And, we're not through it. We're definitely not through it. This winter is going to be probably pretty fucking brutal. But, the fact that it hasn't fucking cratered to zero and has actually done really well this year, I think says a lot. But the question I want to ask is, what, like, you guys obviously have heard of like quantum computing. Like, is that something that worries you about, that it, like, quantum computing could like break the blockchain? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if suddenly it was like, oh wait, we've got a computer that's 1,000,000 times faster, yeah, we can break that blockchain. Give us 3 weeks.
I mean, I'm by no means qualified to answer that question. I know that there's some pretty heavy people who say yes, it's going to happen, and then
it will break the blockchain.
I mean, I guess at some point it could crack it, but I've also heard the contrarian view where it's like, it can't. I mean, I'm not even going to say yes or no, but it's definitely a heated debate. But there's not like anybody who says like this thing is a 10-year technology and the quantums are going to like kill it all.
Sure. So, I mean, that would be obviously. You get more than 10 years out, and people are like, oh, this is going to happen. It's the fuck what's going to happen. Exactly. I don't remember 10 years before Facebook, anybody predicting Facebook. I don't remember 10 years before the internet, anybody predicting the internet. Exactly. iPhone, I mean, go down the list. Like, these things come and they have very unforeseen consequences. Who the fuck knows? I mean, it could make it stronger, potentially. I have no idea. Like, they could immediately switch it. Like, okay, yeah, before you fucking cracked it, we're going to like immediately start mining with it, and like it immediately makes it like way fucking stronger, that it's like a cat and mouse thing where it's like, no, you're not going to break
it. That's the thing. It's like these, especially about Ethereum. Ethereum has plenty of bottlenecks right now. They need to get scaled up to Ethereum 2, right? And that's the ultimate.
What's going to be the big like selling point for Ethereum 2? I guess I haven't.
Well, it's transactions per second is the main thing. So right now, it happened with CryptoKitties back in the hype of 17, where everyone was trading CryptoKitties, and because there were so many transactions going through the blockchain, it caused the price of everything to go up to send transactions. It basically brought all Ethereum protocols and everything to a crawl, because it's all funneling through that one validator, right?
Oh, okay.
And so the thing is like, in order to get mass adoption, each of these projects needs to be able to have a lane to be pushing through their thousands of transactions a second.
Actually, yeah, I think Alex from OpenSea might have said that it's sort of like you will be able to like do transactions that aren't quite as like secure, that it's like, okay, they're slightly less secure. Like you wouldn't use this to like move $1 million or something. But if you want to buy like a freaking $1 thing, you can just do it very quickly, and it's not like validated by everything or kind of like whatever.
Yeah, there's like, I mean,
somewhat maybe.
And I'm not a developer, but I've listened to a lot of the talks, and it's called a side chain, where basically you can group, let's say you're at a convenience store, right? You could take all your transactions for the day, add them up, keep them on this little thing. And at the end of the day, you have 10,000, then you send one with all that over, and then that's secured, right? So
okay, I see. So it kind of like, if you can like secure this small like thing where it's being like tabulated there, then you can kind of like bundle it together and like one batch it in terms.
It's like when the Brinks truck comes at the end of the day, you got your money in the sack, and then as soon as you give it to them, you're good, right? So it's just that's one of the ways of scaling. And believe me, they're actually going to have a talk later. I don't know if it's maybe tomorrow or Friday with Sky Minert, who is part of POA, and they are one of the other. They're trying to solve this problem as well, and it's a fascinating talk. And you definitely, I'll shoot you the link.
Yeah, I'll definitely like to hear about that.
And that's, I mean, and it goes back and forth, right? With crypto art, even if the transaction per second aren't at 100,000 that we want them to be on Ethereum, right now I couldn't even tell you, but call it 100. I don't know the number. No one shoot me in the comments, but it's very low, right? Well, if you're selling crypto art or something that isn't time contingent and it's not a speed issue, Ethereum is really solid, right? So then there's the other view of like, well, do we actually in crypto art need Ethereum to scale technically for this to be a success? And to me, if I'm selling a piece of art, I don't sell 10,000 pieces of art a second,
Yeah.
And so
it doesn't matter if it takes 10 seconds or if it takes a minute. It doesn't really matter.
For me, it could take a freaking hour. I don't care. Like as long as the contract's there and it's secured on the blockchain, it's the buyer knows it's gonna happen. So I think there's different needs for different people. So personally, I'm, don't get me wrong, I don't want to pay. When the network gets clogged, sometimes it'll cost 20 times the price to mint a piece of art or to send it. So that sucks. But end of the day, it's doable. So I don't want to take this up with tech talk, but
no, but it is interesting, like, and that's one of the things that I tried to like talk to a lot of people is some of the technical things to like, okay, like, is this going to be around for a long time? Like this, like technically needs to be pretty like solid for like, this to be something that like people are spending these amounts of money on to like justify, like, this is going to be around in 50 years. Like, this is going to be like a legit piece of like art history that isn't tied to one company that, if this company goes away, it breaks it and it fucking like kills this thing. So that's been, something that I'm from the technical side been very interested to sort of like learn more about where things are stored.
Yeah, no, and that's the other thing is, then there's like someone was talking about in the collector's chat is art that's technically on the chain. So there's Pixel Chain has a awesome project where you can do, it's like call it like a 32 by 32 square of pixels where you can draw your design, and then you can upload that, and that data is actually technically on chain. So you don't have to have IPFS and hope that the IPFS hash is going to last the totality of history, right?
Sure.
These little things, and I've done several myself, and they're fun. It's something. It's not Beeple spending 4 hours on, MoGraph. It's like this fresh lo-fi art,
Mhm.
which is actually kind of a challenge at the same time, right? So
Oh yeah, it's totally different. Yeah, that's definitely like, super interesting to see like where some of this stuff is stored and like some of the stuff that's like on chain versus off chain. And that's like, again, when I first came into this, I assumed all of it, like you just like, you take a video and you put it on the blockchain and it's 100 meg on the blockchain and it's all there. Like, and then it's like, yeah, no, that's not even close to how it works. Like, so
Yeah.
that's been like very interesting to like talk to people and see like sort of what's possible. And then just like, I mean, related to the release, I don't know if you want to, I was going to show some of the like pieces
Yeah,
from
sure,
the
of
like
course. I'd love
drop or
to do that.
whatever.
Please.
Actually, can I share my screen here?
Yeah, you can. Let me just, yep, we're geared up to share the screen.
Can you see this?
We can, yep.
Yeah, so that was kind of one of the things that was like interesting to me, like when I was talking to the people at Nifty actually, and about like the Christie's piece where they had the like it changes with the like time zones. It was like, oh wait, these things can change. Like again, this is one of the very early conversations I had like 2 weeks ago, way back 2 weeks ago.
Welcome to crypto.
Yeah, no shit. It's been like fucking 6 lifetimes. And so it was like, oh, these things can change, like that's super cool. And so it was like, well, what's like, could it change based on anything? And it's like, well, kind of. And so I was like, well, what if we had something that would change based on the election? And they're like, yeah, we could do that. And they've never done that before. This is like the first time they've done that. So that's what we did. So this is like one of the pieces that we'll be like auctioning off. This is sort of the initial state that the piece will be in before the election. So it will like, stay as this state until the election is decided. And we kind of talked about that because I have a feeling it's going to be a shit show in terms of like, no matter what happens, Trump's gonna be like, I won. So it will, when I decide that the election has been called, then it will either show this if Biden wins. I don't know if we've got a little freaking clown here, a clown show, and it will show this if Trump wins. And so these will be the like 2 different states that it will like forever stay as, like, based on who wins the election. So like somebody could buy this and it could end up like, staying as this like Trump piece. I personally do not think that's going to happen, but it's definitely a possibility. And so I wanted to make something that sort of like played into that, just uncertainty and like not knowing what, like, that is this year. If nothing else is marked this year, it's like nobody knows what the fuck is going on, like in every dimension of life seemingly. So I wanted to like sort of make something that like kind of spoke to that and sort of was like tied to a very specific event and then would like change, and like that's it changes and it like changes forever. And you also kind of like sort of don't know exactly what it is you're getting. I feel like that is also kind of like an interesting, sort of aspect of the piece. So that's one of the pieces. Then there was another piece that I wanted to sort of play off of the like Trevor Jones bull piece, something that, was a piece that I came across right away when I started like looking at crypto art, and I was like, holy crap, this bull piece, sold for like 55,000. What the hell? Now obviously he sold another piece for, even crazier amount. But yeah, it was definitely wanted to sort of like pay homage to that and make something that was a little bit more in my style. And then the last piece here was again that bull and sort of like taking into account like all of the like fucking just ridiculous bullshit of politics and just how it's just this, on both sides, just an absolute fucking shit show of just stupidity and just like nonsense. And nobody's really gonna be like excited. Like people will be happy Trump lost, but I never talked to anybody who's super excited about Biden winning. It's kind of like, oh, he's not Trump. I guess this other old white guy is slightly better than this other super old white guy. Like, I don't know, nobody's like really excited about that. So this piece, And the fun thing that I wanted to do with that piece is that piece will be $1 and there will be a run of an edition of 100. So I just wanted to like do something as more of like an experiment and kind of like, you know, sort of something to maybe give back a tiny bit just to sort of, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see like what happens with those. And I thought it was kind of like
I'll tell you what's going to happen. And this is a freebie to Nifty. I think you guys need to invest in your server load for that drop. I'm serious.
Yeah, like, that fucking server crashes. I'm gonna be pissed as shit. Duncan, you better get on that, boy. Get on that.
Get the Winklevi to kick down for some extra server money for that.
Tyler,
you better build an extra bathroom for their on-site server.
Yeah.
Server room.
Freaking stop jerking off Bitcoin Twitter. Let's fucking make sure those servers don't crash, guys.
Yes. It's a real thing. That's sick. So so you have an edition of 100. You have a one of one, and then do you have any other
two
one of ones?
The one like cryptocurrency piece, that one's titled "Crypto is Bullshit," and then the other like auction, the one that changes with the election, and then the edition of 100 for $1.
Awesome,
so,
cool,
a good deal.
I as somebody in the community, I just want to like really welcome you in. It's been,
I appreciate that, man. Everybody's been so welcoming. Everybody's been like super nice. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to like give these, you know, for $1, because I'm assuming that, you know, people will be able to sell them for more than $1.
Maybe.
So, you know, hopefully that's something where people can, you know, come and just make a free buck, because it's sort of like that's what it is right now. But yeah, I definitely, everybody has just been like so nice and like so eager to talk and so passionate and so smart. Like, you know, so many people is just like, dude, I can't even understand what you're talking about, but like, thank you for trying to explain it to my stupid ass. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for everybody. You know, everyone's gotten what they have dreamed of, and I'm just excited for you. You know, like we're a community, like you said. There's so many new things to learn, and you know, obviously, reach out.
Oh yeah, diving into the spaces too. Like that's something like I very just briefly like Arthur gave me a tour of like Somnium space, and it's just like all the like crazy stuff, and the like Mocha like, you know, space there. Like talking to Pablo is super cool. Like, you know, the stuff they're doing, and like just seeing all these projects, like it's been so super interesting to like just like see all these different directions that could go. And it's like, oh man, there's so many things. And like looking around Somnium space, and it's like there's a bunch of people there, but there's also a lot more space that could be developed into like crazy shit. Like there's plenty of like, nobody's like, oh shit, this is fucking, you know, already jammed up with people. Like there's a lot, you know, again, like it feels like ground floor, where it's like so many cool things could be done in terms of like events and like, and I also really feel like this is something like the broader world will like find out about. Like it's just like one of these things where it's like, you know, music's gonna come in and they're gonna realize that it's like, well, why the fuck wouldn't we sell a like one of one Michael Jackson Thriller like fucking master copy? Like it doesn't cost us anything to do it.
Yep.
Somebody would absolutely love to collect that. And you know, this just goes down the line of a million different things that it's sort of like adding value to you know, people like showing their passion. Video games, I mean, you know, there's a million different things, sports, trading cards, you know, and these things have sort of started, but like there's a lot more room, because the average person has no idea what this shit is. Even super techie people, almost nobody knows what this is. That's the other thing that's been super interesting. Like this community, to me, and maybe you guys have a different opinion, it feels like it's about 10,000 people, like 10 to 15,000 people. It doesn't feel like it's like a million people. It doesn't feel like it's even like 100,000 people. Like I feel like I keep seeing a lot of the same name comes up. It does not seem super big. So that to me is like, it feels like there's a lot more room to like, you know, this to blow up.
Totally. I think probably more than 10,000, but I think that I think it's more than 10,000. I think like globally, it's probably sitting around, including all the techies and the DeFi guys, it's probably sitting around 50,000 people strong. I think the same voices are in the space because they're just the people that are amped, you know?
Oh yeah, everybody's like, yeah, I haven't heard anybody who's just kind of like, nah, this is whatever. It's like everybody's just like, this is my life. I can kill you. Like everybody's like just super, super jacked on it, like very excited and like super, super like, you know, passionate about bringing more people in too. Like it doesn't feel like it's like, this is our thing. We don't want outsiders to come in and wreck it. It very much feels like it's like, please come in, like join this party, like see this thing that we've like, you know about and see potential and like see that there are more people coming. Like, so that's been, you know, super exciting. And I guarantee there's a lot more people coming in like the MoGraph space that, you know, and just the like broader art community that don't know about this stuff yet, but they will, and they'll see. I guarantee they will see the same value that like.
Totally. Let's jump into the Beeple studio that Coldy kind of whipped together, which would be very cool to see and kind of have you walk around and just look at the space with us and everyone else. There's a couple of questions that people have while we're gearing that up. They said, who's your inspiration, Beeple? What artists or type artworks are you inspired by other than digital?
Honestly, like it's mostly digital, and it like changes like a lot. Like, I mean, if you look at the like work that if you, yeah, this is so sweet to be able to like see this stuff like in a space like this. Like it's so my like taste changed.
Drop the link in the chat so everybody can come check it out.
Okay, cool.
My taste changed pretty like a lot of the artists I'm in make like kind of like weird, sort of like gross, like monster shit now. And like that's not the stuff I was interested in like, you know, a year ago, like at all. So it very much like there's just so many like interesting little sub communities, and like I've been super, you know, oh that's sweet. That's pretty cool. So you know, inspired by the other artists making, you know, stuff in this space, and like the aesthetic that, you know, this obviously has like a very different aesthetic and has like just very different visual language and sort of like, you know, the sort of like meme culture. Like I feel like that stuff is just very interesting because it feels like that's what the kids are into, you know. It feels like something that progresses very, very like rapidly, and something I almost view like meme type stuff or something like that, like maybe that's like the next graffiti, that it's like almost like a digital graffiti, that it's something that it's like this spreading of ideas. It's got this kind of like, I've always had more of like almost like a punk ethos where it's just like, no, I'm just gonna fucking do this myself. Like I don't need like anybody else. I got a fucking computer. And like the early inspirations for that were like Aphex Twin and like people who were like putting out like, no, it's like, this is, you know, hearing that. And then, you know, early 90s when I was like a kid with like a 486, you know, computer, it was like, wait, this guy made this like crazy, you know, music all by himself, like one person. And you know, I remember telling people that, and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you know, obviously that's completely taken for granted now, that like one person could go into their bedroom and make an entire, you know, album or whatever. But in the like 90s, that wasn't remotely like, you know, something that was taken for granted. So that view of just like kind of like doing stuff yourself, you know, and sort of being on the like kind of like bleeding edge things, that's the things that have always sort of like been interesting to me. Like what's something that nobody's done before, like what's something you know, that's like I've never seen that before. Those are the sort of like aesthetics and just art projects that are like interesting.
If Beeple wasn't making art, what would you be doing? Would you be an accountant, or I don't know?
I'd probably be a very unhappy programmer. I feel like it's very hard for me to like answer that. I just can't. I don't know. Like I can't. It's very hard to like imagine not making. There's nothing else where it's like, oh, I really like this other thing. It's like, nah, I'm not that interested in anything else.
I love that. I love the like unwavering dedication and commitment to your craft, and to beating on your craft daily, to where you're, you know, you set up a goal for yourself and saying, you know what, I'm gonna just do this every day. I'm going to do it every day and give myself to it. And, you know, in doing that, you have become a legend. I mean, there's no way that the word Beeple and legendary are not in the same conversation or sentence. And it's
well, I appreciate that, but to be honest, it doesn't feel like that much of like a choice. Like it's like, well, what would you do otherwise? So it's like, well, the way I was wired, I'm not interested in anything else. So it's sort of like, it doesn't feel like it was like, oh, this is like some, you know, huge epic like hurdle. And that's where it's sort of like, I think that's what's allowed me to stick with it and still be like just as excited and just as passionate about like getting better. Like there's a million things that I feel like it's just like I still need, like I'm at day one. The reason I started the everydays is, you know, 13 years ago is the same reason I'm gonna do it today. Is like I need to get way the fuck better. Like that has not changed at all. Like that has, you know, I see kids coming up, and now that I'm older, it's like a different reason. And now I see fucking kids, and it's like, God damn it, this kid's like fucking 24 and he's like fucking crushing it. What the fuck? I'm like an old man. Like I can't let this kid fucking beat me. So it's like, you know, it's different reasons, but it's still like, you know, wanting to be, you know, as good as possible and wanting to get better. So, you know, I feel very lucky that that's how I was wired, you know, just with this thing that's this semi-compulsive sort of, you know, productive habit that I kind of like fell into, I feel like. And then, so, wait, okay, so how is this? I don't understand this. Like, why does this guy have like all these like bananas and like, or like, what is that? Oh, like,
so these are, so what you can do in crypto voxels is you can buy wearables and you can make your own as well. So these people buy virtual apparel, and maybe I can get one of these guys to stand still.
How come he doesn't have a body?
You know, that's a great, wonderful question. I do not.
Because in the future, there are no body politics, people. We're all just free people.
That's true. I'd be fine with that.
That's the smart people, right? They figured out how to delete the body or something. So
that's funny.
So like, here's an example. I sell limited edition 3D glasses.
Oh, that's cool.
I think this is Matt from Scent, who moderated the collectors panel. So he's got a pair of Coldy 3D glasses that I.
Hey, what are those things he has in front of him?
It's like a school of fish, I think.
That's cool. So you just make these in like a little like editor, and then you can like just sort of like I was walking around here before and I saw like a giant, I think it was like a Wreck-It Ralph. Was that in here?
Yeah. And so I could show you, just if you want to see some like one of my cool neighbors next door. You could do these like voxel things. So like, you know, you can make sculpture gardens, and there's a guy with a Fiat flying around, you know.
That's funny.
So yeah, that's the cool thing, is you can start customizing your space. And let me look at all. Isn't this crazy? Like, these are real.
Sweet.
Like, these are like friends. That's Quotient. That's like one of my buddies. Like,
that's fucking dope. No, that's all the pie slices. That's funny. Yeah, no, that's freaking sweet to like see like
Bruce
people in here. I feel like, yeah, it's so like, it would be so cool to like have like a virtual like, you know, art opening, and then, you know, be able to like go around, and I think with VR too, is that like, you know, improves, it gets better. I think it's just so many like fun possibilities there to like do it. And I think what's cool about it too is that, like, you know, versus something like Second Life, or I guess I don't know that much about Second Life, but I guess the permanence of it too is cool. Like, that's interesting too. Like, if you see somebody who like built something, like with Somnia Space too, like if you see somebody build something that's like, okay, well, that cost real money to like build that. Sure. It wasn't just like, it's not just like some like 10-year-old like came in and like just kind of like, you know, playing and like built whatever, and it's like, it's temporary. Everything just feels like it has more like sort of like weight, and like it feels like a real thing, but just like a digital version of like a real thing, instead of just something that's like, you know, everything. And that's, I guess, the whole concept behind these NFTs is it's like digital, but like not, you know, it has more weight to it, instead of something that just feels completely irreplicable. Like, you could replicate it a million times, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, who gives a shit? Like, these things feel like they just have much more sort of like real world sort of like weight to them.
100%. And really, like, this is such the beginning, you know.
That's
like,
so sweet.
and the cool thing is like, you know, I was able to throw this together, and you know, that's kind of the nice thing about crypto voxels is you can iterate quickly, you know. And you know, Somnium is getting there as well, and everyone's increasing their builders so that you don't need to be a 3D modeler, you know. Like, that's and that's, you know, accessibility is important for a lot of people.
Oh, I think it's going to be huge too. And I think, to be honest, the whole like not being a 3D modeler, I mean, you know, obviously down the line, you're just going to scan shit with your phone and like build like a, you know, textured, like low poly, you know, photogrammetry thing just with your like LiDAR on your iPhone, you know. That's probably maybe 5 years off for it being like pretty good and like, you know, workable. But like the library of like assets, like you know, it's just exploding, where it's just so many like free like 3D models and stuff out there. So it's like super, you know, fun and interesting. And the way that I'm able to like work now, not have like, I don't model shit. Like I get everything. Like I have a deal with Turbo Squid where they just, you know, give me whatever I want, and it's like super fucking dope. So it's just very fun. It feels very much like just playing in a sandbox and being able to fucking rip heads off of shit and put boobs on everything and like just be like a fucking, you know, 8th grade or like 8-year-old with like the sweetest fucking magical toys ever.
Yeah, no, it's fun to see what comes out of your head. It's just like it's great. It's like I appreciate the beautiful mind, you know. It's like, man, dude, like
I appreciate your beautiful mind. That's kind of sounds like I've got like a mental disorder.
No, but
it's like a beautiful mind over here.
But it's beautiful, you know. It's your own mind, which I think is awesome, you know. Like, and the fact that you can like daily come like give people a glimpse of what's in there. It's just it's a gift. I
appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Yeah, it's definitely super fun, and just, you know, seeing these new things I'm super excited about.
Well, I think no rush on this. Phoenix, do you have any concluding thoughts?
I have so many concluding thoughts, but I'm only going to share one or two, and then I'll say, Beeple, let's get another like more industry focused like chat and seeing your new work around Crypto Basel. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure.
Yeah, when are you guys doing that?
So Crypto Basel is December 1st through the 7th or the 8th.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of new people to the space, and it'd be great to get your opinions and feedback on, you know, being a newbie, having your first and second drop. Are we allowed to say you're doing multiple platforms, or are we keeping that secret?
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, people like know. I think it's I think they all kind of like, they all have their own things that they seem like, you know, better or worse at. And so to me, it's sort of you know, I think going with Nifty for the first one, you know, made sense, and they've been awesome. Like, it's been super great working with them, and you know, I'm super excited to have it there. But to be honest, like, I think, you know, all of them have, I'm not sort of like tied down to anything, and I think it's fun to explore like what's possible on the different ones, because they all kind of have their own sort of like different styles. So I think it's all, and they all seem like really like, you know, everybody on all the communities is very positive, and it's a lot of the like, you know, sort of like same people. So, you know, all these things I'm like, you know, very excited to just kind of like dive into.
Sweet. So I'm excited. I guess I'll save it for Crypto Art Week, but I'm excited for there to be like an ultimate, ultra rare Genesis Beeple in the world of crypto.
I'm excited too. It's very interesting, especially, you know, with it being this like kind of like thing that changes to like that to me, you know, it will be interesting to see that. And yeah, it definitely will be fun to sort of like have stuff, you know, kind of part of the blockchain, and just, yeah, diving in.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. We really
awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me. Definitely hit me up about that Crypto Basel thing. I'm sure we'll talk more between now and then.
Definitely.
I super appreciate you guys having me, and everybody, you know, hanging out in the space there. That's like super dope to see. So yeah, excited.
And if you guys have questions for him, you know, specific things you want to talk about that we didn't address, definitely hit him up at Beeple on Twitter. You can continue following the conversation at Coldy and at Crypto Art Advisor, which is Universe Contemporary. My IG, some people were like, how come we don't know where you are on IG? I'm yesuniverse.art. You can hit up Beeple crap, Beeple_crap, and you can hit up coldy.art on Instagram. You guys have been wonderful. We're getting ready to open up the universe for Pindar, and we'll see you soon. Thanks,
Yep,
guys.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Take her easy.
everybody. And
Bye.
Pindar's coming up, and Pindar's going to be in about 5 minutes. So we're going to get this thing jamming.
Right on.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Peace.